All right, everybody. John here at PT. Dan was saying on the training. PT asked Dan. How we doing, Dan?
Hey, John, great. It's a little cloudy, but I'm doing good.
Okay.
Always wanted to be a weatherman.
So you can be wrong half the time?
Yeah, that's right. Still get paid.
Anyway. All right. So let's talk about competition. So we all have competition in our spaces. It comes in various shapes and sizes. There's two elements I want to get your take on. One is when you're asked about your competition or you ask who somebody's using now and they share how you discuss that. I think that's very important. And
Mhm.
then the second side is trying to stay on top of your competition. What else is happening? What are others doing? So you can have intelligent conversations around what your prospects are getting exposure to.
Mhm. So I'm not a detail person, and so I kind of lose track of who all my competitors are. Of course, I know the main players out there,
Yes.
but there's some little ones that pop up here or there. And I may or may not have heard something about them in my past. So usually when someone says, "Hey, have you ever heard of ABC company?" my first response is something like, "Yeah, I believe so." And then I always follow with, "And I believe I've heard really good things about them." I always start with the optimistic,
Yes.
positive stuff. I've heard good things about them. What do I gain by slamming them when I don't even know much about them?
Yep.
And so you always talk positively about your competition. You never know. Maybe that company or that person you're talking to is using them, has used them, knows somebody that
Yep.
uses them, and the last thing you want to do is get on the bad side of all of that.
Sure.
So it's always good. Now, how do we stay up on this? So there's some things you could do. For instance, you could sign up to Google Alerts. You could put in the name of the company, and anytime something is happening with that company that Google notices, you'll get an email
There
or
they go.
you'll get a response on that. The simpler ones, though, too, are talk to your prospects and you find out who they're using. You go, "Oh, I've heard good things about them. What do you like about them?" And you start to find information out.
Yep.
Talk to your customers. Hey, who's been in seeing you? What companies do they represent? What did you like about what you heard? What did you not like about what you heard? And then last but not least, of course, you can go to your own data bank of your customers now used to use somebody else, maybe. Why did they switch you?
Yep.
What was the reason that they left the current vendor or incumbent and came to you? And that starts to give you a lot of arrows for your quiver, so to
There
speak.
we go. Well, I think we're actually where you started is pretty common and key in the dialogue. Your first line was, "I'm not a detail guy," and that's really common for we sales folks.
Yeah.
We are in the moment people, the energy of the moment, and you hear me talk a lot about Bob here at PT. He's our detail guy. When I need detail work, drop some stuff on his desk, and I say kind things and ask politely, and on we go. So I'm cognizant of the fact that knowing I'm not that detailed person, I fill that void with other resources so I can try and stay on top of that. And then I think the comment there is, oh, kill them with kindness. I mean, as they ask about a competitor, you heard good things, or and sometimes I've learned too, though, is they're also trying to get a sense of somebody they're using. How well known are they in the space?
Mm.
Because sometimes they're wondering themselves, are they with the right group? And coming out aggressively in the negative sense, I don't think ever helps anybody. It
No.
just doesn't.
Well, a real great example is you meet a family and one of their kids is really ugly. Do you tell the mom and dad, "Hey, you got an ugly kid"? Of course not. Man, what beautiful kids you have. What great, right?
Yep.
Because the minute you say they're ugly, they'll defend them to the tooth and nail. And so
Yes.
same thing with your competition. If you tell somebody, "Hey, I've heard bad things and they're not as good at this or we're better at that," they'll start to defend that company
Yeah.
and you're sunk.
Well, and I think they're used to that from a lot of salespeople because a lot of salespeople view that as a wedge and they attack it. And they don't realize the harm they're causing themselves in the process. But a lot of people are used to that aggression from a salesperson of attacking what they're doing now or somebody they like or who knows. But it's a very odd response to me.
Let me wrap up with this. Sometimes you'll get asked the question, "Hey, we're using ABC company. Why should we consider you?" or something, some variation
Something
of
to
that.
that effect. Yep.
So the response should be, and we're not in an actual scenario, so this is
Yep.
right. The response should be something like, hmm, maybe you shouldn't use us. And then just get real quiet.
Yep.
Because every other salesperson out there will start to go through, well, here's my 27
We'll
reasons
vomit.
why we're
Yep.
better. And
Yep.
it's overkill.
Yeah. The moment you say, I don't know that you should, everything starts to change.
It
It
does.
does. It does. All right, everybody. See you again tomorrow.
Have fun.